real deal. Straight talk to help make you a better fisherman. Brought to you by Esox Angler Magazine. The real deal on muskies, walleyes, and pike.
Rigging is a real slow technique, and it's very precise on the boat control. A lot of times, like on Mille Lacs here, the fish might be located right on the top of the break. They might be halfway down. They might be right at the bottom edge. So you first of all have to pay real close attention to your depth finder. When you're moving along here, be watching for fish, be watching for the top of that break, and try and stay in a real precise area and keep your bait in front of fish. The other thing you're going to want to do is move along real slowly. Now in a heavier wind, sometimes that might mean slipping down the break, using your trolling motor to hold a little bit against the wind. Remember that you can't move too fast with these. You've got to move fairly slow so that that leech has a chance to swim up. If you're dragging too fast, then that leech will get dragged straight behind and you aren't going to get nearly the action or the bites as if you go just nice and slow, concentrating your bait in those good areas. Now a lot of people have a little bit of a problem with that boat control as far as staying right in a particular depth, right in a particular zone. I'll show you a neat little feature on this trolling motor here. It's got what's called depth tracking. So for instance, if I went graphing around a point and I marked a bunch of fish in 27 feet, what I can do with this trolling motor is simply put it into track mode, tell it which way shallow is. In my case, shallow is to the right here. And it will start tracking on a particular depth. I turn my speed way down to like 1 or even down all the way to the turtle there and just let it do the tracking for me. And we'll actually, if you watch the arrow up there, it'll actually turn out deeper as it gets too shallow. If it gets out too deep, it'll actually turn back in. And the motor is actually smart enough that if it gets way off, like say it gets way too deep, 3-4 feet too deep, it'll actually speed itself up to pull it back onto that right depth. So it's a real nice way for people who aren't real good at boat control, keeping their boat in the right depth. It's also really good for a person like me if I've got to run to the back of the boat and net a fish or help one of the boys or one of my amateurs if I'm in a tournament. It really is an important feature to help keep me in the fishing zone.